realise that to you, you think, well, you're puncturing the grand bubble. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit what you think.
I put myself out there because I'm vain and arrogant, but I don't give a shit. If you think I'm right, awesome. If you don't,
my family threatened, I've had my cat threatened. I don't give a fuck anymore. Right? I'm a bit like Doomsday, you know, sort of. As police officers kill you all because they don't give a shit because the law doesn't apply to them. I could. To the right-wingers of the world, well, you're just a fucking communist, so we don't give a shit what you say. You want Soviet Russia, man. You want Soviet Russia. To say, you know what, I showed my tits on the internet and I don't give a fuck. What are you gonna do? You want to follow someone who is honest, right? Like, they'll care in the event of a multiversal threat. Otherwise, they don't give a shit. And so, they're still to us shock troopers. It needs berserkers. It needs people who don't give a shit, who will ride into enemy lines. I literally just use a pair of scissors and just like hack, 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 hack. Because I don't give a shit. Because it's gonna look hell. I will delete your comments, I will block you, I don't give a shit. I don't care how funny or witty or trying that you think you are, I don't.
the fashion revolution that could come from people just saying, you know what, I don't give a fuck, this is cool.
With shit like that is by saying, you know what, these are commenters, I don't give a crap. So, getting, you know, chopped up, eaten alive, turned into toys, don't give a fuck. Oh wait, you have a pill.
Like, top class raw warship. They don't give a shit. They just fucking, hey, there's gonna be some fun.
I realise that that's not going to be enough for some people. And that's okay. I don't give a shit what they think. I don't really give a shit what anyone thinks.
Video games industry that we laugh at because, oh, they're so immoral. They don't give a shit about their medium at all.
I don't care how funny or witty or trying that you think you are. I don't give a shit. I don't want that. Fuck off. Kindly. So I guess what this means is that I really don't give a shit what the left think of.
Fuck. He's like, yeah, I fucking eat what I fucking like, but I don't give a shit. You wanna say something to my face?
And advertisers know men don't give a shit. And because sales show men don't give a shit, right? And yeah, I know, I don't give a shit what you say about freedom of speech and that. You're being dickheads.
They deserve to see it made well. And to be honest, I don't give a shit. If Russell T Davies and Stephen Moffat said
on the bridge of Voyager saying, you know, reroute all power to engines. I don't give a shit about life support. Let's get the other politicians. And the politicians don't give a shit. Because they are being paid off by the corporate lobbies who are
so many people are living in. This is the reason we don't give a shit about who fucking wins. This is the reason why we want Jeremy Corbyn to win.
That there is no longer any creative destruction. Instead, what there are monopolies that don't give a shit and aren't competing. Innately just fucking small-minded and don't give a shit. You know? People die all the time in fucking wars. They don't give a shit. You see, the gay community, they have been, you know, work with these people in these countries that don't give a shit, and then they ship these products over to us in the West, and I give a shit about the fact that you're fucking selling guns. I don't give a shit about your fucking flag, about your fucking politics. I genuinely don't
gives a shit about looks. I don't. I don't give a shit about how stupid I sound, how
vote and have a say, and like our economy works better. I don't give a shit about the economy. I don't. Right? To me, in the street saying, you know, you're kind of loud and terrifying. And I don't give a shit. I don't know you. But when it's my sister, or France, of course they're gonna give a shit about them in a way they don't give a shit about other people. Britain, like, I am just so regularly insulted and given deference that I don't give a shit. It's like, great, that is a great big target that I shall fire at, except I don't give a shit. Bugger. You're a man. I don't give a shit about 4chan. They sent a spider to my house. I am Farik Gatri. I am the bringer of darkness. You know, I don't give a shit. I will come down to your world. I will drop out of the sky and I will... When you don't give a fuck, when you know that an apocalypse is coming, that you can't do anything, right? The thing is, I don't give a shit. I don't, right? Like, Ken Livingstone was someone I kind of regarded as a bit of a twat. Like, kind of, well, remove your comments. I don't give a fuck, right? Oh, you've got your dislikes. Oh yeah, you know what? YouTube doesn't give a shit. That some people get where it's like, well, you clearly don't give a shit because you're having women being eaten by fucking... This does not happen too much, and the answer is a resounding, no, we don't give a fuck, we're gonna die. The answer is a resounding, oh, we're rich and... They know damn well what rape is, they just don't give a shit, right? And that's the issue. Excuse me, I need to take a drink of this. One of the fun things about having a villain protagonist is that they maybe don't give a shit so much. They believe that I am in some way evil, whereas they don't give a fuck, they just want a cheap laugh. Right? I don't give a shit what you think. You're allowed to be wrong. That's game because I'm like, but then I will be stuck in the opening story again. I don't give a shit about your stories. Doctor could be, you know, he is that kind of like battle scarred. I don't give a fuck. I just fucking just sort of about Marvel films that are just, you know, boring shit that you don't give a shit about. And keep dropping bombs on me. Like, I feel for those people. I don't give a shit, really, about the politics of Palestine or the I really fucking don't give a shit anymore. Look at all the fucks. Look at all of the fucks that I give. Look at just to look a certain way for other people. You know, I don't give a fuck what other people think. If I gave a fuck what other people think, shit about anybody else. Yes, they're gonna die, they're gonna suffer. I don't give a shit. You know, they're not Jon Snow, they're not Tyrion Lannister, they're not Daenerys Targaryen. I've seen that happen. And so that's why I don't give a shit, because it's like, no, you are immoral fucking bastards. I've seen that. Does its business. That is how that's what the advertisers want. The advertisers don't give a shit. Well, you know, the skylightness, so therefore we do not like you anymore. But there will always be fans who don't give a shit. Who are like, yeah, but they're my babies. Not like all the fucking analytics and evidence in the world suggests that they don't give a shit what you're saying. They just like... The Bamkirsch chuckled. I know you don't give a shit about Lisa, but I do, snarled Nikki. And I need to know if it's kind of like, if someone is badass in a movie, I don't give a shit.
if someone is badass in a fucking vlog. The man. Because Donald Trump just walks up and says, "Hello, I don't give a shit. Yes, politics is corrupt. I've bought it. This is my channel. If I don't like you, you're getting fucking purged. I don't give a shit. Right? You have a right to walking and cunning. So I don't give a shit, actually, about what people say to me. What I give a shit about."
So I use it against you, because I don't give a shit about it. I don't give a fucking shit about cuck. You think I care about cuck?
So long as there is someone there that I'm like, yes, you're good and awesome, I don't give a shit. Because, you know, I've got my utility corduroy. Further expansive opening, like, no, you're fucking going through the door. I don't give a shit about the other fucking... Of a race to the bottom whereby each party just says, fuck it, we're doing what we want and don't give a shit because we're the biggest party.
This feeling of inferiority and not understanding. I don't give a shit if you've got autism. I give a shit about who you are. Are you against child labour? Well, there are countries all across the world that don't give a shit. And in a globalised economy, yeah, responding to this sort of stuff. Because, to be honest, I don't give a shit what the trolls think. And shit like that. But there is also just generally that men don't give a shit. You know?
No, it's not even you only like David Tennant because he's sexy, it's just you don't give a shit about the fact that Matt Smith is so...
If you are interested in my perspective on this issue, if you don't give a shit, feel free to go. And this is why I don't give a fucking shit what people say about my weight and the caffeine and why.
If you are someone who does not approve of transgenderism, I don't give a shit about your opinion anymore. Your opinion is humans in general don't give a shit. Like, we don't distinguish that happened to you.
And yeah, I would like to make clear, I don't give a shit what your show is. I'm not going on it. But I don't give a shit about the individual fucking stumbles of, well, this happened this time. It's like, now I'm offending people I give a shit about. Because, you know, I don't give a shit about 4chan, but I do give a shit about, you know, the transgender community. As and when my energy comes to it, and if you've got a problem with that, I don't give a shit. Right? This is what happens when you are at... There really isn't any help for the men, and I don't give a shit when they get hurt. You know, it's... And all these fucking bigger countries who don't give a shit what their people think.
When I look at pictures, I don't give a shit. I'm useless in art galleries because I'm just like, sign it! No.
Corporations like the money, and they are selfish bastards who don't give a shit about human beings. So, the way to say it, because they are following the grand code, but like, essentially, they don't give a shit anymore. The logistics, right? Oh, you've got your dislikes. Oh yeah, you know what? YouTube doesn't give a shit, right? Your dislikes help my anymore. That I don't give a shit. Actually, I don't. I really fucking don't give a shit anymore.
This shit was going on anywhere I had any kind of say. Like, I don't give a shit. I do not give a shit.
And I don't give a shit whether I am mansplaining right now. Whether there are feminists.
And I don't give a fuck what you think. But what I'm at home is just it's the same thing. Like my attitude on YouTube is just like I don't give a fuck how fucking weird I seem. I don't give a shit. So when you mention Doctor Who, they go, oh well, I like David Tennant and he was hot, and you're like, I don't give a shit. It doesn't fucking matter. A fucking best guy ever, you know. We like the badass women who just don't give a shit. Who just do not fucking give a shit.
And I also have grey cardigans with zips. And also, I don't give a shit what you think. I know how often I change my cardigans.
Because I have been bullied. That's the reason I don't give a fuck what you guys say. And
doing this, right? No, it's not. It's like child labour and slave labour in countries that don't give a shit. Because we've got a global, whereas the sort of the YouTube comment sections, I don't give a fuck. And obviously Reddit is very deliberately being kept as a. I know you're doxing me, but you shouldn't be doing that because it's wrong. And also, I don't give a shit, right? Do you know what happens? It's not like people then go, if I need to take care of a crisis, I don't give a shit about myself. Probably want to vote for Conservatives because they don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck. They are gonna hang on to Scotland. They are gonna lie tune because I'm an English guy and I don't give a shit about America. But it's this. It's clearly this. It's meant to be this. Now, at the moment, you've basically got the amateurs who don't give a shit and are doing it for fun. And then you've got the people. So if the Bamkirch incarnates as a woman, the Bamkirch don't give a shit. It's just gonna keep doing what it needs to do.
Don't give a fuck how fucking weird I seem. I don't give a shit kind of how poor the lighting is. Well, I do a bit because you know. One thing I would like to make clear though, I don't give a shit about debate. I do not give a shit about debate. But I think what it comes down to, why I don't give a shit about the Batidia quest, but I do about the Mirror quest. Okay, feminism, it's in the name. Feminism is about women. They don't give a shit about men's rights, therefore you need
us ensuring that we're treated fairly and equally, but in practice, most of the time, governments don't give a shit, right? There are so many is well saying it to a fucking right-wing audience who don't give a shit and who are entirely the wrong people. Mate, if you're gonna be a dickhead, I don't give a shit, you're being a fucking dickhead, fuck off. I will delete your writer, and I actually don't think that I should be a writer. Because I don't give a fuck when you guys tell me my stance that I don't fucking hide shit. I don't give a shit. I'm gonna fucking post that shit private and I don't care. You know, for a lot of submissive women, and basically at this point I don't give a shit. Right?
to an extent. With people, they just usually don't, because people, like the Dawn Guard, don't give a shit. You're a vampire, you're a threat.
Tell me why. Tell me what I have done wrong. I can't learn if I don't know, but they don't give a shit about actually informing.
To everything, and I am at the point where I don't give a shit about this game anymore. I'm not killing another.
This country is fucking broke and poor, and they don't give a shit. And they are gonna make all of your goods. Isn't it funny to upset all the stupid liberals? I don't give a shit what the serious... Congratulations, I don't give a fuck. Not gonna listen to you. Don't care. I know that means you'll try because fuck all to do with us not talking enough. Okay? Because I talk. I talk till the fucking cows come home. I don't give a shit. I have my blogs and my YouTube. Then I could do what I like and nobody would give a shit. And I do what I like. And I don't give a shit if people do give a shit. It's like, once you've crossed that fucking threshold, I don't give a shit. Okay? You can give so much of your money to cancer, you can, you know, because he said to ban the guns. They will say insults I don't give a shit about. They will state facts that aren't important. And rushing out there to leave cuckoo when I made an entire video pointing out that I don't give a shit if you call me a cuck. The DUP don't give a fuck. The DUP could easily screw over the Conservatives just in this room because it's their fucking domain and actually they're fucking in charge here, so they don't give a shit. They're gonna take the fucking piss out of you, and if you complain, well, because men don't give a shit. And advertisers know men don't give a shit. And by uniqueness alone, they like slip through my don't give a fuck filters. And like, I had someone who had next door neighbours, right? Never seen him, don't give a shit about them, you know. It's just like, well, I could. Man, burgers is away, burgers. Like, I'm a fucking atheist. I don't give a shit. Okay? Like, you know, they don't give a shit about anyone in Britain. They don't give a shit about the fucking refugees. All anyone Republicans sort of controlling committees, and now Jeremy Corbyn's got in and he don't give a fuck about them. And they're like, but no, if you have something wrong, well fucking man up, don't give a fuck. And so, you know, when people are arseholes to us, we are just them that, you know, I don't give a shit. I genuinely don't fucking give a shit, mate. You know? I mean, I don't care about anything I've just said. What if you're just vegetarian for dietary reasons and you don't give a shit about the suffering of animals because humans... Of my 16-year, I don't clean my teeth, I very rarely wash, I don't give a shit face. You know, which bother, they don't actually give a shit about whether I'm on it or not, in which case, fine. I don't give a shit about whether I'm actually on it or not, just... I'm in a pretty much I don't give a shit mood today. You have Parkinson's disease because you are disturbing me, you freaky weirdo. You don't give a shit. You do not give a shit. Alternative rights are a soulless vacuum. They don't give a shit about morality. They don't give a shit about anything. All they... like the opposite of cancer. Just parts of your body just going, hey, we don't give a fuck anymore. And exploding. Disabled people have a right to a decent fucking existence, and if you don't, I don't give a shit about you, because you're a fucking you. A lot of my viewers think very differently, and I honestly don't give a shit. You think differently. Fuck you. The 1%ers, the corporations, the politicians, and they don't give a fuck about what we say because of neoliberalism, because I not get my head bitten off. Right, because I don't give a shit what the alt-right thinks, right? The alt-right have all completely slaughtered that with, you know, only getting away and blood and blah blah blah. So they don't give a shit. These people are not. You think they should commit suicide? Well, that's your opinion, and I don't give a shit. But, you know, that doesn't mean I'm gonna let you write your fucking essay. To date, Mr. Vague and Mysterious Hunk to date number 4. Like, I don't give a shit. I don't. Okay.
how they're going to stop providing free school meals for the poor. They don't give a shit about anyone in Britain. They don't give a...
Hey, and I'm someone who I don't give a shit about any of this normally, because I am someone who likes challenges, who within his party who don't like him, are just they don't give a fuck about the country. They just want him and suffer and become homeless and get killed. They don't give a shit about him. The old, they will joke about saying, hey, anybody who does not fit at one of these two poles, fuck you. We don't give a shit about you. And guess what?
The fucking white student nerd who's autistic as fuck. I don't give a shit what you think. I am sorry that there are people.
And I don't know, send them more eel through the post. I don't give a shit. Right? Yes, you will end up feeding enough, and I know for damn certain I don't give a shit what fucked up shit you're getting up to, right?
Keeping me healthy for, you know, driving the flesh transport around. I don't give a shit about it.
Based exploitation of free market capitalism is like, actually, no, I don't give a fuck. You do. You do. Free market capitalism in general.
YouTube videos. Well, for the most part, I don't give a shit what you guys say. Because I don't know me. I don't know you. And they're saying Islam is shit. But you know what? We're the fucking infidels. They don't give a shit what we think. And you know how I know?
Who fight dirty. Okay, who do despicable things. They don't give a shit what the...
Worried about not having enough food to eat? You don't give a shit if it's healthy and slim, and if you need to go to the gym to work that shit up, darling, you know.
Obviously, I still have YouTube because there are still Let's Plays I want to watch. But I don't give a shit. I don't need...
And they were moral and fair and principled. I don't give a shit. I'm fucking there. And this is kind of what I'm saying here, is that, you know,
you don't watch more than 5 seconds of my content, congratulations, I don't give a shit about your opinion of it. Okay, if you want them on the grounds of logic and reason, the right wing don't give a shit about logic and reason. Some of them do, but a lot of them don't. Turns out, an audience of majority alt-right people don't give a shit about Dungeons and Dragons.
Cunts. And they don't give a shit about other people. What they give a shit is about the people. Descriptions of the curtains and the blah de blah blah blah. I don't give a shit. So anyway, I just...
Or they come out. Okay, you can't do that, but I don't give a shit about being one of the first, and oh my god, I'm gonna get the thing. Make it best when they don't give a fuck about continuity. They don't give a fuck about canon. All they care about is making the best with racist fucking tirades that I shall delete merrily. 'Cause I don't give a fuck anymore. I'm not worried about the right wing, what they think of me. I know what they think of me. And I don't give a shit what they think of me. It's like...
And they were, for a bit. But then it turns out people don't give a shit how much of a good boy you are. We need to kick out all of those bloody foreigners. Is being a shitting douchebag. So I don't give a shit. I will choose. I don't give a shit what you guys think, but I'm not gonna kill myself. Fuck you all. Writing a story, but I'm listening to fucking June while I'm playing this. I don't give a shit about the story. Like, just you know, millions of people in Britain don't give a shit. They're fucking voting for who they feel like voting for. Infidels. They don't give a shit what we think. And you know how I know they don't give a shit what we think? Because I've been in there.
People are the only people who use it and are offended by it are the kind of people we don't give a shit being offended by the
Just want to fuck you up. You know. To people who don't give a shit about you, they just want to fucking hurt you. There is something want to participate on the economic scale. So they need to speak English because we don't give a shit. We ain't learning your foreign language.
Unless you are a member of the 1%, they don't give a shit about you. Right? They will fuck you over time and time again.
Lines that if you cross them, that's it. Your comment gets removed. You get kicked. I don't give a shit. You know, there are lines. I've made quite clear that I basically don't give a shit about the freedom of speech of racists
who within his party who don't like him are just they don't give a fuck about the country. They just want him. They don't give a fuck about the world. Why the fuck would they give a fuck about a fucking building? I'm asking for an opinion of someone I like. I don't give a fucking fig roll about the objective truth. I give
mouth, then you don't give a shit about the history of Britain. You don't give a shit that there are people in
and la la la, you're going to hell, I don't give a shit, fuck you, bitch. See, this is the thing, like, genuinely, people get quite annoyed. Since you're making a fucking joke out of me being suicidal, I really, really don't give a shit how you fucking... We have to change to suit you. You don't give a shit about us. And you know, I was reading last night. Keep watching my videos if you want to, and if you don't, well, as we've established, I don't give a fuck. So anyway, scenes in this that are just, well, this would be really cool. Does it make any sense? Ah, fuck it, it's a dream. Don't give a shit.
right? We like raging illegal wars, and we don't give a shit about those in the third world, right? And even
a 40-minute video about it. You say that you don't give a shit, and yet you deny comments. Okay, right. There is a difference between British shows are we are okay. Yeah, we don't give a shit. You know, like, because to be honest, I don't give a shit what the trolls think. And I don't give a shit what the point scorers think. And I don't really give a shit what the pressure of school is upon you. You need to do really fucking well. I was like, I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. This is all arbitrary. I'm all fucking Oliver Queen's been, you know, he's died. He's died. He's gone evil. I don't give a fuck. Fucking, you know, Supergirl. I'm never reading this again. But then after that, it was just like, okay, the characters I care about are alive. I don't give a shit about anybody else. Yes, they're gonna die. I don't give a shit what you fucking think. Write your fucked up fanfic. You look across the world and it's a whole load of poor countries that don't give a shit, that are just exploiting people, treat roof over your head, the right to food, all these stuff you don't give a shit about. But the right to kill, oh, you are so defensive. They don't want to be seen to make compromises. They don't give a shit what the left wing thinks of them. They want to make the left wing
natural, and we haven't done anything. I don't give a shit if you're a climate change denialist. We need to stop this.
And I love that. I love the, you know, I don't give a shit about saving up my money to buy this, to buy that. I don't need to buy. And oh, you're gonna love this. I found I don't give a shit so much about carbohydrates anymore. I'm not like
arseholes out there saying, well, it's a fat woman, so I don't give a shit. Honey, I can understand the appeal of a well-drawn picture. I can understand giggles, and I'm just gonna do this stuff because I am honest and shameless and moral, and I don't give a fuck, actually.
apathy breeds apathy. Because if they don't give a shit about us,
Go somewhere else. Okay. And also, a little bit of advice. I don't give a shit whether you're fucking joking or it's fucking banter, man. Is fucking reasonable, and I don't give a shit about what you think. You know, or you're just a troll like Katie Hopkins, just go.
and the Conservative Party are fucking those people over as well. They don't give a shit. They are fucking everything over. If you care, asking is kind of not. I don't do asking. I don't do debates. I don't give a shit what you think. That are in Series 5. I don't give a shit about the other characters, right? So fuck it, right? I mean, granted, they might. I know people take the piss out of my hair because, yeah, I don't give a shit. When I cut my hair, I'm just like, my hair is too long.
They just do things because they want to get by and they don't give a fuck about anybody else.
So yeah,
I have an attitude that is just, you know what? I don't give a fuck. I learn about shit in my own.
they suddenly realise they don't give a shit about their fucking shitty YouTube channel.
But again, that was a case of, it's TV, I'm switching off, I don't give a fuck. Seriously, in terms of I'm now looking stuff up on my computer to read out. I know, I just don't give a shit. This is just, this video is just an excuse that he thinks needs to make, because it's just like, no, don't give a shit what you think, don't give a shit what you think. Believe my own beliefs, believe my own.
At this point, I don't give a shit, right, about the shit they send in the post, because it's like more evidence for the police, and as a result they're losing ground to the right because the right don't give a shit. And at the moment, people,
it's like you feel sorry for it, but you basically know it's fucked, and as a privileged person, you don't give a shit about it. It's gone. Videos that are gonna get people mad. I'm doing videos where I don't give a shit because I do these for me. You know, I just do because I scream and I shout and I'm big and I'm broad and when I am angry, I don't give a fucking rat's ass. Other people have a go at men. Men don't give a shit. I mean, this is why I worry when I get angry. Because we don't give a shit about the fucking about the fucking children washing up dead on beaches.
I'm not presenting myself as the decent left-wing punditry guy, but fuck it. You don't give a shit. You think I am this...
And just having that sign of like, we don't give a fuck. We can do this. Are you going to...
So much less about caring for people and so much more just about making money that they don't give a fuck anymore, right? Absolutely, actually, right? 4chaners can tell me to kill myself, don't give a shit, right? But paedophilia, well, there are still countries where they don't give a shit, right? Are you against rape? Are you against...
The thing about men is we don't give a shit. We kind of have to not give a shit because
level of, you know, capitalistic, don't give a fuck, you die now. that's kind of ranted against, and you know, racism is ranted.
People here, because yes, Tories don't give a shit about the poor. Yes, Tories are selfish bastards who only care about the economy. I'm told, yo, dude, I don't give a shit. I have been insulted. I've been harassed. I've been abused. By the time I see the email,
End of the wedge when it comes to men, in the sense that I don't give a shit, right? And even when I did give a shit, I dressed in.
okay, in fact, it's been proven quite a lot of times that people who pirate games just don't give a shit. You know, they're gonna pirate the game.
And yes, I'm saying that to a bunch of fucking Nazis who don't give a shit, and yet are obsessed with. Not Tyrion Lannister, they're not Daenerys Targaryen. I don't give a shit. I don't need to read this series. But violence. People who commit sexual assault do not give a shit that it says "woman" on the door. They don't give a shit if from 4chan or 8chan or Infinity Eternity Chan. I don't give a fuck. Fuck off. A good deal of you may disagree with me, but just so we're clear, I honestly don't give a shit what you think.
Those people, and even if you don't, even if you just put out your own shit and you say, I am me and I don't give a shit what you think, then this, because I have a load of problems and I have a YouTube channel and I don't give a shit. Whereas
Fundamentally, I think the difference between men and women in that respect is men don't give a shit. Men do not give a shit. You go up to
you, homeless people don't give a shit. Seriously, like, America, like, I realise you have this
because of corruption. They don't give a fuck. And fucking 4chan and all these satirical and the liberals and the left wing fanboys. Incidentally, I haven't seen the new Star Wars. Don't give a shit. Although I won't be allowed. Fortunately, though, there are plenty in America who don't give a fucking shit about pacifism. So if I grit my teeth and I say, yeah, I'm finishing this series, I don't give a fuck. But lately, although obviously you see with Gerald too, that, you know, the Contravox really don't give a shit, they will eat anyone. We need to separate the men from the women, because otherwise, you know, women could get raped. Like, you don't give a shit about women being raped. To pay the proper rate of tax. Because I'm Google and I'm big and I don't give a shit. Well, no, Google. If you are gonna be some men in the toilets, okay? Clearly, we don't give a shit about rape in Britain or America, because sort of more primal, more feral ones, they are utterly manipulative dickbags who don't give a shit. Whereas Lucy is good. Like, not realising that the entire point is, yeah, I'm singing bad and I don't give a shit. You know. Conservatives, because you use cuck as an insult, so I use it against you, because I don't give a shit about it. I don't give a fucking shit, you know. So to conclude, for me, I don't give a shit about the sugar tax. But I'm interested. This is why I don't give a fuck. Because I am my own worst enemy. You have to do so in a way that makes it look like you don't give a fuck. You have to look like, I don't care, but I will. And the Conservative Party are fucking those people over as well. They don't give a shit. They are fucking everything over. If you care. And I sleep when I'm tired, and I eat when I want to, and I don't give a fuck.
So, that book takes a monster I don't give a crap about. Like, zombies physically disgust me. The idea... Children? Fucking horrible. I don't give a shit. Okay, about children watching...
I mean, we have people who genuinely don't give a shit about the lives of others, who joke about the lives... You can call me a coward, whatever the fuck you like, I don't give a shit. You're fucking racists. The moment that you say you are going to discriminate... Well, I don't give a shit what the bloody idiots doing anymore. If Nazis who watch my channel can fuck off and die, I really don't give a shit. There is...
Okay, he's doing shit to the people I don't give a shit about, but, you know, he's actually fucking over, you know, the Tory voters too. You know, you're boring now, it's happened a lot, we don't give a shit. Unashamedly anti-authoritarian. I don't give a shit, I'm gonna kick the space, I'm gonna say my views, I don't care.
Now, I know that the mods of the JQ2 don't give a shit about me, right? They've made it very clear. Fucking white noise, it's just, okay, you are now a dickhead, I don't give a fuck, I'm going over there. You're posting a fucking heartbeat. I don't care. I will block you in a heartbeat. I don't give a shit. And I don't care
by saying that I am trans or a woman. Because I don't give a shit, right? I don't. I genuinely couldn't give a shit what you said.
And they've got the knowledge and the training and the guns and they don't give a fuck. And they've been preparing the eat merrily. Because I don't give a fuck anymore. I really don't give a fucking fuck anymore. For me, as far as I'm concerned.
Because I don't give a crap about any sordid excuse you have. Because you know what? Even if Justin Bieber is
correct poor grammar, because normally I don't give a fuck, but that was poor grammar even by my standards. Yeah.
The cold, mercilessly pragmatic, because frankly, fuck everybody else. They don't give a shit about me. You know, we're all just.
Oh, you're annoyed that I'm not letting you post a negative comment. Great, I don't give a fuck. Right? I don't give a shit that you should be talking about the esoteric Jahanists. I also know that the majority of people in Great Britain don't give a shit. They don't vote for a local representative so long that you just don't give a fuck anymore. But anyway, I was at this dark point and I was listening to The Dark Knight.
Fuck! My parents! And now Ben! No, it's just Ben's dead. You don't give a shit about your fucking parents?
If you like it, here's where you go. I don't give a shit. I do not chase some arbitrary thing. I do not chase views, I do not chase money, I do not... Wise, I don't kill myself, so I think it's wise, I don't give a shit about what you're saying. And so I stopped caring about them, and it's like...
But still, we don't give a shit because
flare, red right, red rag to the bull. Right, because when someone is angry, they don't give a shit. And
to stop this, we need to stop climate change, and I don't give a fuck if you don't think it matters. I don't give a fuck if you think that actually...
I don't have a business plan. I do this for fun, and I don't give a shit if anybody's watching. I love it that they.
This is gonna be your life, so you don't give a shit. If, however, in that darkness which you are fully attended.
So, here, we will look after you now. Like, no, they don't give a shit. You know. In many ways, you could argue that that's how it should.
To our own at risk, and that our government doesn't give a shit about the homeless or at risk, and so that is a problem.
So, yeah, I really don't give a shit about what other countries do. We're British. We do other stuff. Now, at the moment, you've basically got the amateurs who don't give a shit and are doing it for fun. And then you've got the people. I make these videos for me, right? I don't give a shit about your wanting to see debates in the comment section. Different ways, I've had so many insults and stuff, like, I don't give a shit anymore. But if you are gonna use terminology, so yes, in a way, being nice is the most annoying thing that you can be, because I don't give a shit about arseholes. When you're in a good mood when you've eaten, I don't want to die, but this species of spider, it doesn't give a shit. It wants to be eaten. It will act in these series right now. You know, series that most of my viewers don't give a shit about, but.
And because these are human beings, they aren't literally going to go around killing people. But they don't give a fuck if they piss off men.
Ass fucking right-wing cunt who happens to show his fucking face, and I don't give a shit what your reasons are. You can fucking try. We'll address this, shall we? There are people who are like, but you say you don't give a shit, and yet you make a 40-minute video about it. Fundamentally, right? I've already, said, hey, left-wing propaganda, I don't give a shit, I will purge you, I will delete your comments, I don't.
Between so set in their ways, they just don't give a shit, and the new days of trying to understand and at the same time I mean, I know the reason I like Doctor Who is because they kind of don't give a shit. I mean, like, Atlantis has been no, fuck no, we want to play actual Pathfinder. We don't give a shit about your homebrewed house-ruled shit. Of its fan base. Because the makers of Doctor Who make it best when they don't give a fuck about continuity. They don't. I have something that America does not have. I have morality. That means I don't give a shit about then you're just committing horrible things. If you don't give a shit about doing stuff in and the only difference between me and him is that by and large I don't give a shit. By and large I'm just like, this is a knee-jerk thing that they don't give a shit about the little girls. They just nice who drink tea and don't give a fuck about church like C of E people. Like they have hated myself worst of all, and I don't give a shit anymore. Life's too fucking short to care that these people say. So this is how I became tempered into the don't give a fuck man I am today. In an age where the rich have the power, and the rich dominate power. So the rich don't give a fuck, and the rich can keep making money. Herbalife are almost nice, but Verve don't give a shit. Welcome to our new, quietly giving a review of a series or whatever. The alt-right don't give a shit about that.
Those get the worst of all, and I just didn't give a crap. Didn't give a crap. And so I've actually been watching sort of Blake Seven and Robin Hood. The people who don't give a shit. And I don't give a fuck anymore. We have crossed the threshold of fucksgiving. And as a man, you like how the woman looks. You maybe don't give a shit what she says. And, you know, to be honest, as you say, because your reasoning is sound, not just because you're fucking saying it. I don't give a fuck. And, you know, it seems...
I've been insulted by far worse people and far more often to the extent I don't give a shit. What I give a shit about is...
We only like you, man. I do this for me. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit if I am literally preaching to a fucking